Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and for today's video I'm doing the part 2 of the food prep series. Just a quick disclaimer, all of the products in this video are not sponsored, yes, and it's bought with my own money. In this video, I'll be also showing to you the food prep on the BBS from Yoli, in short for Better Body System. Yes, and I'll be showing to you as well my favorite recipes from around the world, starting off with the shake that I really love the most. Give that a little quick shake, and yeah, why don't we get started with the video? Let's go! Let's start it with the morning breakfast for Monday, or in short, for brekkie. So I cut off the ends of the leek. You can also use spring onions for this dish. By the way, this dish is from China, and originally the dish has the white wrapper, but I didn't add that because I avoid using white colored foods in this diet, so I set that aside. But by the way, I also chopped that a little bit more because it's quite big. So in a bowl, crack 2 eggs. As you can see here, oops, I failed to crack that up, but don't worry guys, I was able to crack after that, and just mix it up. Put some seasonings such as salt and pepper, and yes, I also put salt after filming this part. So in the pan, put the egg and the leeks. By the way, we're avoiding oils for this cooking prep. And just flip that over, or put it halfway, I guess, and then plate it up. Add the remaining greens or whatever leafy greens that you have in your pantry. By the way, I added soy sauce just to give it a pop of color and also to add a little bit more flavor. And now it's time to eat. This is very quick, easy and simple breakfast to start off for this Monday morning, and it's super good, you guys.
So yeah, it turned out to be like a simple egg omelet.
So yeah, I ended it with a big thumbs up because it's just, once again, super delicious. For dinner, I chose chicken teriyaki from Japan. I love this one, but we toasted up first the sesame seeds and give that a little quick stir. I use 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of this tonkatsu sauce in my fridge, from my fridge rather, and I added a little bit more just to adjust the seasoning. By the way, I tried to mimic the taste. Okay, some salt and some pepper from the condiments list.
For the healthy fat, I chose sesame oil for the marinade plus for frying. And then mix that all up. For the veggies, we chopped up some celery beforehand, and we chopped up as well the red onion, and by the way, that's for the blue day, but that's alright. Grab your pan, and then we kind of like splash water here, so if you can see, the water is rolling like a mercury ball, which means it's ready to cook. Add the onions, then I sweat that for a little bit. Add then the garlic. Grab the marinated chicken and then add that to the pan. Here's a tip for you guys if you want your chicken to be tender. So I added water. And then I bring down the heat to low, then simmer that for 5 to 10 minutes. Now you can add your desired veggies on the free veggie list, but I chose broccoli for this dish. Itadakimasu!
This is so good, guys. If you're sick, please eat. Don't starve yourself. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up and then I'll prepare for what I'm going to cook for tomorrow's lunch. And it's going to be a Korean dish that I super love.
For Wednesday, I thought of preparing lunch and dinner for this blue day, and yes, I cooked jjajangmyeon and I thought of this Korean chicken dumplings, spicy actually, and here are the ingredients. This dish is actually from Korea, so I added white onions and carrots, and of course I sweat the onions first. I cooked them for about 2 minutes and then stir that a little bit, then add water for the noodles. Bring that to a boil. While that's boiling, add the noodles. So I chose this vegetable noodles that was in my pantry, and I used that before in the first food prep, and then cover that up. When the noodles are cooked, bring the heat down to low, and now in this stage you can now add the sauce, the chunjang or the jjajang sauce, and mix that all together with the noodles. Originally, this recipe you cook the sauce separately, but I prefer to cook it all together. Then add the cooked onions and carrots, the sliced cucumber, and you can add any veggies from the free veggie list. Then simmer it down for another 5 minutes. Let's plate up this noodle dish. And yes, I kind of mentioned before, or the day before, that I was sick. I was not feeling well. But yes, guys, once again, do not starve yourself if you're sick. Make sure you eat as much as possible. Nothing too fancy here. Just gonna garnish some of the toasted sesame seeds. And yeah, let's dig in. It's super delicious, you guys. And yeah, as you notice, my eyes kind of like tear up because it kind of hit. I had the 2 canker sores grew in my mouth that day, but don't worry, you guys, it was super delicious. Alright, now let's prepare for dinner. So I added 1 teaspoon of soy sauce and 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. I don't know why I didn't film that. And then I added 1 tablespoon of the gochujang or red pepper paste, some chopped garlic, some chopped spring onions to give that a little bit of flavor, and then sesame seeds, some pepper, and salt. Mix it all up, and I'll leave a little ASMR right here. Don't you think it sounds satisfying? It was so satisfying to me, guys. Anyway, so I found this yubuchubap. It's actually a fried bean curd skins or tofu skins. So I use this to put in the marinated chicken. This process is quite tedious, or this food prep rather, but I gotta say, I had a great time preparing this dish, and I just kind of like thought outside of the box for this recipe, and I was like craving for that kind of dumpling, which I will show that later. So I found this kind of like seasoning in the packet rather, and originally it looks like this. Yes, the main ingredient for this dish is actually rice, but I already had a complex carb during lunch, which is noodles, so I just thought of chicken as for my protein for this dinner time, and cover that up with a lid and steam that up for 10 minutes. And look at that. Now let's plate up this dish. You're probably wondering why that plate looks quite familiar, because we used that during the quarantine cooking series. And yes, we just added toasted sesame seeds, some chopped spring onions. Once again, nothing too fancy. We just rolled a romaine lettuce and used a toothpick to hold that up. Look at my hungry looking face. And yes, visually it looks super delicious, and I wanted to do this shot, but 3, 2, 1. Oops! My chopsticks did not hold that up, but I gotta say, I recommend you guys to try this one. 10 out of 10. It's super delicious and healthy at the same time. And if you don't want anything spicy, you can opt it with any other seasonings to your liking. And if I crave for another Korean dish, I will cook this again.
Maybe I was craving for dumpling. That's why I thought of this one. I'm getting another bite.
It's Orange Day for Thursday, and I thought of preparing this for lunch. And this dish is from Laos. Here are the ingredients. Onto a pan, I added lean ground pork and I cooked that for 10 minutes because I want to extract the oil from it, and I don't want that because it's quite unhealthy. And don't worry guys, I turned off the heat from the stove. And look how much oil that has been extracted from the pork meat. Wow. Once all of that is extracted, I added chopped garlic. Saute that all together. Kaffir or kefir leaves. I added a teaspoon of soy sauce and I added a little bit more to adjust the taste. And mixed that all together. I chopped off some lemongrass for about a tablespoon. And ground black pepper, a pinch of that. Chili powder, I used the Korean one because I want a little bit of heat. Cucumbers. Once all of the ingredients are incorporated, mix that all together and bring the heat down to low and simmer that for 5 minutes, or cook that rather. I actually added a little bit of sesame oil because my Asian blood is like itching. So once all of that is cooked, add the chopped spring onions and the crushed or ground peanuts and mix that all together. Now onto the plating. So we did this with the iceberg lettuce and we used a toothpick to hold of that because we wanted to put like in a cup or wrap. And don't worry guys, we cleaned up the mess after that for picture purposes and for this video. This dish is called minced pork larb salad. So I tried it with a fork at first because I wanted to taste the meat together with the herbs, the lemongrass, and the kaffir leaves. And I gotta say guys, it's super delicious. But originally this dish has cilantro. I just used up whatever's available in our pantry. I had 2 servings of this, but don't worry guys, I removed the toothpick after that. And yes, I recommend you guys to try this recipe. As you can see here, I shoved my face with the bowl because I finished everything up, and yeah, once again, it's super delicious. It's Friday and it's Blue Day again, and I'm super excited to share this recipe for breakfast, and it's inspired by Jumbo Juice Mood Smoothie. So I added almond milk. By the way, this is unsweetened and this is about like 1 cup. Then I added these 2 bananas that were already going ripe in our pantry. Peel it off and then add it to the blender. For my protein, I added this Yes protein shake by Yoli, and I thought of that maybe this will be a great ingredient to replicate that smoothie from Jumbo Juice. And then yes, I had like 2 healthy fats for this day, so I added 1 heaping tablespoon of Dad's homemade peanut butter. This is really good you guys. And then add some ice, as much as you want. Cover that up and blend it all together. Once it's done, add that to your glass and drink it up. Alright, let's do a taste test. And let's find out if I did the same as the flavor of the smoothie. And yes, my eyes just popped out because I'm just super happy and incredibly satisfied at the same time because I was able to replicate the smoothie, and I recommend you guys to try this one. The fam bam loves it. So yeah. Here's a Korean heart because it's super duper delicious. Now it's time for dinner. I got inspired by this recipe, but first let's add the seasonings. This is Italian seasoning, Spanish paprika. I use chicken breast for the protein. I add this ragu sauce. It's actually tomato sauce, but it's quite flavorful and I just love it. Olive oil for a tablespoon. A pinch of salt. And some ground black pepper. Give that a rub and mix that all together. This recipe is inspired by Meal Prep on Fleek, so I will leave it down below in the description box for you guys to check it out. Now onto a pan, I splash some water and lay down the chicken breasts. Add the remaining bits of the marinade and cook that for 3 minutes. Once the other side is cooked, flip that over and cook it for another 3 minutes. Once the chicken is golden brown, you can now add the cheese on top. So I chose cheddar and Gouda for this recipe. Originally, the recipe has, or used rather, mozzarella cheese, but I wanted to be like on a budget, and we chopped off some pineapple into chunks, and yeah, we use real pineapple for this cooking prep. Once everything is cooked, plate that up. I use the ragu sauce to do like, this like gourmet style plating. Yes, I wanted to play, okay? Then add the chicken meat, the cooked chicken meat with that ooey gooey cheesy looking, oh my gosh, that looks so delicious. And add the pineapple chunks. That was cooked together with the chicken. I added a little bit more of the ragu sauce on top. Then for the complex carb, I boiled and mashed one medium of the potato, and then I added Spanish paprika on top of that for garnish, and some more Italian seasoning onto the cooked chicken. I thought of the dried rosemary to garnish also on top of the chicken meat because I wanted to add a little bit more flavor to this dish, and I can't wait to try this.
Hawaiian Chicken Pizza. Look at that, you guys. Look at that. Look at the... This dish was super duper delicious. Okay.
For Saturday's lunch, I thought of this classic Filipino dish. For the protein, I chose fish. Olive oil onto the pan to pan fry the fishes. Yes, I actually cooked this for the fam bam. That's why you can see there are 3 fishes on the pan. Bring the heat down to low and cook that for 3 minutes. Whilst that is cooking, charred eggplant. And I'll do a little magic trick right here. Ta-da! Once the fishes are fried, set that aside. And now we can add a little tad bit of olive oil and spread that all over the pan. and add the onions. Stir that up and make that onions sweat. Let's make the onions sweat. Let's make the onions sweat. But my eyes is about to tear up. Woo! It's so strong. Booty now, guys. Guys, when you try to sweat some onions, please lower the heat down, which I forgot. Anyways, add the chopped eggplants. We actually chopped that beforehand and then mix that all together. Season it with some salt, some ground black pepper, and soy sauce to add a little bit more flavor. Saute that all together and bring the heat down to low and cook more of that for about like 3 minutes. Let's plate this up. This dish is called sarsyadong talong, which is I actually cooked for the side dish for together rather with the meat, and sarsyado in Filipino, which means saute. Sauteed eggplant and onions, so that's why I sauteed it with oil, but we use olive oil for a healthy fat and for a healthy dish. For me to eat this lunch, my tummy is super satisfied. To end my week for this Sunday's dinner, I thought of this recipe from Mexico, and here are the ingredients. I chopped up some bell peppers. First, what I like about bell peppers, it's so packed full of nutrients and vitamins. And this is a great vegetable if you're on a diet because it's a great source of fiber. So I just chopped some onions, roughly chopped. Nothing too fancy. This dish is called chicken fajitas, and I love this dish as well as my dad, so I thought of this one for a special weekend dinner. I washed some lettuce, that's romaine actually, and I chop or slice this big lemon that was in my fridge. We're just gonna use half of that. Now onto a bowl. Chicken breast for the protein. I use cayenne pepper first, oregano, one tablespoon of cumin. You can adjust these seasonings, garlic powder, the measurement rather, ground black pepper to season that as well, and some salt. And just a tablespoon of the lemon juice from the lemon, and mix that all together. Onto a pan. Fry first the white onions and then make that sweat. Then add the bell peppers. Once all that are cooked, set that aside, then add the chicken onto the pan. As you can see, I didn't use any oil here, so I just used the oil from the chicken, but don't worry guys, we extract that after. And then cook that for 5 minutes. Whilst that is cooking, I made some sauces. So I found Greek yogurt in my fridge, and then I chopped beforehand some celery. And then I added a little tad bit of the liquid from the lemon. And then mix that all together. And then I used ragu sauce again for this recipe. And then I added this Parmesan cheese, just to give a little salty flavor, or savory flavor rather. Back to the pan, bring the heat down to low and cook more of the chicken for about 3 minutes. Then whilst that's cooking, I heat up some wheat pita bread, which my dad made 2 days before, and put some lettuce, and then the cooked onions and bell peppers, then the cooked marinated chicken, and then add the sauces. First, add the red sauce. That sauce is so good, you guys, actually. And the white sauce. And once again, I just use whatever's available in my pantry and wrap it up. Now let's eat this delicious looking wrap, and I'm super happy for making this dish for the fam bam. A special weekend dinner, and yeah, I didn't expect this to be quite spicy because I kind of like overpower the spice, but other than that, the white sauce was able to cancel that out. And that's it for this week prep. And comment down below which recipes that you're curious with, and I recommend you guys to try all the recipes on this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for those who loves to eat, cook, and also foodie. I'm gonna finish this off with my last bite, and everyone stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, but most importantly, stay hydrated, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!